A very big welcome to the art vlog with me, George Dopamine. Today I'm at the Somerset House just off the Strand at the Courtauld Gallery to see this rather wonderful looking exhibition. I can't tell you how excited I am to be going into this show, because it is bringing together 15 or 16, I can't remember quite, of Van Gogh's self-portraits. This is going to be a unique opportunity to see portraits from Amsterdam, Paris, America, as well as London, and see them all in one space. The show is on until the 8th of May, and I think you should try and get down here if you're a lover of Van Gogh or a lover of modern art. The show is £16 to get in, £18 with a donation. If you're a student, it's £6, and interestingly it's free if you're 18 years old or under. There are also other discounts. For example, I noticed if you're a teacher, it's £8. Now that might seem quite steep for what I'm imagining is going to be a small show, but you must remember it also includes access to the wonderful permanent Courtauld collection. So come and join me as we go inside for this very, very special show. The first smaller room is a wonderful aperitif of several portraits, including a work on paper, which is really interesting. The second gallery is where the real magic, in my opinion, happens. This is where we see Van Gogh is pushing stylistic boundaries and becoming the great post-impressionist painter that we know him today to be. It also contains the only two works in the exhibition which are not self-portraits, Van Gogh's chair and the portrait by Van Gogh of Eugene Bloch. And it brings together these beauties for the first time in 130 years. I'll talk more about that in my review. So, I've just come out of the Van Gogh portrait exhibition at the Courtauld, and I have to say I'm buzzing. If you're into modern art, if you're into self-portraiture, if you're into Van Gogh in any way, you just have to get to this show, because the chance to see so many self-portraits so close together is not going to be precedented. I don't think this will be repeated in the UK during our lifetime, and it was electrifying, because Van Gogh is clearly one of the greatest painters of the self-portrait in Western art. In fact, I put him up there with Rembrandt in terms of the penetrating, piercing psychological impact of these self-portraits. The vibe of the show was intimate. It was just 2 galleries, so it would take you about 30-40 minutes to really absorb these wonderful self-portraits. But also it was about the Courtauld trying to get us to look at these self-portraits as works of art, of exploring the development of Van Gogh's style, as opposed to looking at them sort of for some kind of psychological insight, because obviously Van Gogh was a tortured soul, and so their argument was that in the past people have just been looking into the eyes of Van Gogh and trying to find some insight into his psychological state through his portraits, whereas the argument very much in this show is that that's not how we should look at Van Gogh's self-portraits at all. They are an incredibly important part of his artistic self-development, and that's what I got from the show. It encouraged me to look at the brushstrokes and how these developed over time, and how his style developed. He clearly venerated self-portraiture as a very high art form indeed. There was a couple of highlights actually, but one of the highlights was clearly seeing 2 portraits painted at Saint-Rémy Asylum in the south of France, less than a week apart. In the first one, as you can hopefully see here, Van Gogh was pensive, lacked confidence, withdrawn, introverted, whereas in this second one, painted just a week later, he's clearly a much more confident person, displaying his artistic self. Just look at the brushstrokes in this second one compared to the first, and as well as the facial expression. And the fact that these have been brought together for the first time in 130 years since they were painted, as I say, 1 week apart, is incredibly special. One's come from Oslo, one's come from the United States. Another highlight was this picture, which I really liked. I was disappointed that the one disappointment was that my favourite ever Van Gogh portrait, which I'll show you in a minute, from the Musée d'Orsay, which I saw when I was only 16 years old, is not there. They haven't managed to land that one, but that's okay. There is enough others to make this an incredibly valuable exhibition. So, would I recommend this show? Well, hopefully you've already gathered, yes, I would. The show itself is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If you're paying the full adult price of £16 or £18 with a donation, you might think that it's a bit steep for 2 rooms, but it's absolutely not, especially when you add in the fact that this gives you access to the Courtauld's collection as well, which is a wonderful collection. It's one of the most preeminent collections of Impressionist and Post-Impressionist art in the UK. And you come out of the Van Gogh exhibition buzzing to be confronted by the most famous room in the whole of the Courtauld, seeing some wonderful paintings by Monet, Manet, Degas, Renoir, and there's one even by Van Gogh himself in that exhibition as well. So it's really worth it, and you just won't get a chance to see these self-portraits together again. It was crowded, as you'd expect. This show is already selling out. I noticed that it's sold out for the rest of the week. Today is the first day it's open, the 3rd of February, but yeah, get yourself down here. It's on, as I say, all the way until May, so you've got lots and lots of chances to embrace these portraits and see a once-in-a-lifetime show here at the Courtauld. I would give this a 9 out of 10. The only reason I'm not giving it a 10 is because one portrait I was desperate to see, which I think is his masterpiece, was not there, this one. And also, because it was a tiny bit crowded, but that's splitting hairs really. For me to give a 10 out of 10, everything has to come together. But this is a wonderful start. I noticed as well that the next show at the Courtauld after this is going to be a Munch show. So the Courtauld's back, guys. Come down and support it, and come and see this wonderful exhibition by Van Gogh. I promise you it will send shivers down your spine.